Hi, and welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast. This is where you can get some great ideas to create your most profitable small business. Just so you know, financial planning isn't only for those that have a lot of money or run big companies. A workable financial plan is for us everyday small business owners and professionals that want to make great financial decisions that lead to bigger profits. So join me, Marcia, your financial business strategist, fractional CFO, and certified financial planner, each Tuesday for some smart ideas to add more profits to your bottom line. I do help business owners grow their profits fast using some unique ways of growing their income and spending strategically that produce bigger profits without killing themselves or constantly chasing more clients. If you're curious, share my podcast and let's chat to see how we can grow greater profits in your business. So I'm super excited today to have my dear friend Tiffany Yelverton with me. She is with Entice Me, and we're going to talk about sex and money. Yes, we are. Tiffany is the founder and chief sexinista of Entice Me and Sexy Survivors. She's a master of enticing others to experience soul-changing growth, personally and professionally, by embracing pleasure and connecting it to their core sexual confidence. Combining her experience in corporate management and training with her entrepreneurial spirit, Tiffany manifests transformations in ways most never dreamed possible. As an expert in sexual health and wellness, she embraces an unconventional concepts which enable individuals and couples to bring new, unexpected joys and connections to life. She offers body-safe, non-toxic sexual enhancement products, coaching workshops, and parties to make it a sexier world. And damn well she does. Thanks, Tiffany. Welcome.
Hi, Marcia. Thank you so much for having me on.
You bet. So tell me, we all know that sex is a secret, right? You're not supposed to talk about it. And you know, we've had this conversation many times offline, you and I, about how sex and money really, truly relate. And I'd love to go deeper into that conversation today.
Absolutely. You know, I think you and I've talked so many times that there's the taboos that go along with sex and the shame, and a lot of the limiting beliefs are the same with money as they are with sex or intimacy.
They sure are. So how does one get past those limiting beliefs and open themselves up to be more receptive to more money as well as enjoyments in life?
Well, when we are shut down sexually, I really believe, and it's actually proven that when we're shut down sexually, we're not open to receive as much abundance in our lives as we could. And when you don't have that feeling of abundance, then it's harder to ask for things that you want. And one of my favorite topics to talk about in regards to this is that men seem so much more confident around self-pleasure, and they also are more comfortable talking about money, typically, and asking for money or going for promotions that women don't feel that they're qualified for, or that they don't feel like as comfortable asking for the sale or asking for more money or negotiating salaries, things like that.
I think that is so true. I mean, as a woman in business, I mean, we always have to make sure everything's perfect or make sure that we're offering more. And then we're always a little hesitant on asking for the opportunity and what truly is our value. I wonder how that, I mean, really, truly, how does that relate back to sex though? So, I mean, I know that when you're happy, you're happy, and sex attracts a lot of things when that comes on, but really, how does that work?
So when we create our own orgasm, it creates the same neurochemicals and oxytocin and all the endorphins that we achieve when we have partnered sex. However, instead of those chemicals creating a bond between us and our partner, it goes through our system and creates self-love and helps us to really boost our confidence levels so that testosterone is released. And so that also blocks a pain receptor to allow us to push past things that we may feel uncomfortable with. And so a lot of times, even with Olympic athletes, they are told to self-pleasure the night before. So it releases their stress endorphins. They have a more even keel, like they're not as stressed out or anxious as they normally are. And then they perform up to 13% better.
Wow. That's amazing. I want to perform 13% better.
Right.
But I mean, I think it makes total sense, because when you've had a wonderful experience and you've enjoyed yourself, then you do feel you've got the glow, you've got the blood pumping through your system, and you're feeling stronger, like you can take on anything. That makes total sense. So what else, how else is the sex and money correlated?
Well, when our sex lives are going well, everything else in everyday life is a lot less stressful. Mm-hmm. All those little irritations that happen are just kind of smoothed over. And when women have a healthy attitude towards sex, it actually helps to close that gender wage gap. And just by having orgasms with yourself or with a partner, but especially with yourself, increasing that helps your happiness quotient, which is up to, like they say that if you increase your orgasms from 1 a month to 1 a week, it equals a pay jump of $50,000 just in how you feel about your life. And I know that that's true with my clients and with myself, with being able to ask for raises and increases when I did work in corporate America, that once I learned about my body and really learned how to orgasm and what made myself tick, I had got a 300% raise just for asking for it. And it was a salary that no one ever thought that anyone in my position would be able to achieve.
That's crazy that's like that. But you know what? Just sitting here thinking, I know that there's been many instances where I've had it, like I said, I've had a great time. And then all of a sudden I'm dealing with a client the next day or even that evening, and I've made the sale. So I've been able to correlate the two back, but I didn't really even consider it until you and I started talking. And that's why I thought this was such a wonderful topic to bring up, that there's so much joy we can have physically and personally in our life. And it will translate over to the opportunities and the probabilities of us making more money in our business.
Well, people are attracted to people who are like vibrating at a higher level. And I'm sure that all of the listeners you've met somebody that you don't know why you're so attracted to them or why you want to do business with them, but you just know that that's the person. And a lot of times it's because highly sexual people are the most successful leaders in the world. And Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich back in the 40s, of how sex is so powerful and to really use it in the right way. But when you do have an orgasm, it's not just that myth that like healthy glow. Oxytocin stimulates the production of collagen. So your skin tone and texture looks better. And so then you're like, people just are drawn to that. And you've got that confidence that you can. I tell all my clients and friends, like, track it and see, like, when your sex life is going well, track and see if you're making more money. Because typically, if we look back at our lives, we go, oh, that's when it was.
It's such a cool correlation, and it's such a rewarding correlation, because we all want to make more money, and why I focus on making more profits with my business clients. But we all want to feel good inside, and we want to have that connection and that enjoyment. And who doesn't want better looking skin? I mean, Come on, there's not a reason why we shouldn't be having more sex, right?
Right. It doesn't take somebody else. We can do it ourselves.
I was just going to say, what are some of the tips that we can do that can help us like like you said, if we've got a big business deal coming up, or we've got a big client that we're working with, or a big presentation, or like me, I've been speaking on stages lately. If, how many hours afterwards, will it last? I mean, what should I do? What are your recommendations?
I would recommend that you self-pleasure before going on stage, even an hour before, or before you, up in your hotel room. But when you do that, it's going to, those chemicals, so oxytocin stays in our bloodstream and on our system as women for 3 to 5 days.
Love it.
So men, it stays in their system about 20 minutes. And that's why also we have that kind of neediness after sex. A lot of times is that because it's to keep the man around, where the men need to anthropologically spread their seed. So but as long as it's in the same day, I think it really makes a huge difference. I had one client that had already negotiated her salary, and she didn't get quite what she wanted. And I sent her back the next day for a final call. And she texted me beforehand. She's like, I'm ready. I self-pleasured. And she ended up getting $10,000 and more than she'd already asked for.
That's amazing. So so we've talked about self-pleasuring. We've talked about the benefits of self-pleasuring and getting more money. I can think of another 2 or 3, if not a dozen reasons why taking care of yourself with a partner or self-pleasuring can also make relationships and business be a lot better too, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about when somebody is super stressed out and agitated and irritated, we say they need to get laid, right? And
right. We're thinking it, we may not say it.
We may not say it, but that's what we're thinking. But it just reduces the stress in your life so much so that it improves your cardiovascular strength. And so when we have 3 orgasms or more a week, it cuts down on heart disease by 50%. And most, things that we're going through are office irritations or office arguments, or we're not happy with what our business partner is doing. A lot of it is stress related or money related. And we're just not talking about it. So I think it's really important that we just take as much stress out of our lives as possible. And I think sex does that.
So how does it work then, or how would you suggest if I'm okay in the relationship? So say I have 2 women or another man, and he's not my partner. She's not my partner, and I'm taking care of myself. But how do you encourage others to go down this path? So that way we're both working from the right angles, rather than me hitting a wall because they're stressed and I'm less stressed because I'm taking care of myself.
Well, that's such a touchy subject these days with Me Too, and we don't want to talk about sex necessarily in the workplace. And it's not like you could go, what you need to do? You need to go masturbate today.
You need to go get laid.
Right.
You might feel better about this tomorrow after that. Go take your wife out.
But start with questions like, how is your personal relationship going? What are you taking time to go on date nights? Are you just encouraging it from a very benign level of saying, you should take your wife out on a date tonight, or, have you guys gone to a movie lately? And, do you hold hands? Because even that little bit of holding hands brings that touch factor back into our lives, and just say, how are things going at home? What? Yeah. And getting people to start opening up that it's not such a taboo subject, that it's something that's healthy. Right.
It is a challenge in the workplace. I'm sure when you've got your friends and you're at equal levels, it's a little easier to talk. Hey, why don't you go take care of yourself? Or I've taken care of myself and I'm less stressful than you are, and you can have that conversation. But when you have that hierarchy of manager or business owner and employee, it becomes a challenge. I think that this is such a necessary topic, is uncomfortable as it may be for a lot of people. I think that this is a necessary topic that we all need to have with ourselves, and it should be part of maybe even a in your employee benefits program, talking about taking care of yourself, enjoying yourself sexually, and making sure that you're reducing that stress. Because if you've got 2 or 3 people in the office with you and they're stressed out, I mean, that's just going to increase the stress on everybody else. But it is a ginger topic that you don't want to, you have to be careful with and saying it. But I think that having, I know you do a lot of work in the community, but I think this would be a great way of having just conversations, maybe in the employee handbook or something, about sexual health and taking care of yourself.
And you can also just even start the conversation with, like, what is self-care to you? You know? And just like, oh, I like to get massages. I like to do this. And like, what does that, correlate? But absolutely. I mean, I think the attorneys would have a heyday with us if we said we needed to put sexual wellness into a handbook. But it is so true that, as society, we've made sex so taboo. When sex sells everything, it's everywhere. But
clothes, liquor, cigarettes, everything.
Hamburgers.
Cars, hamburgers. Yeah, like the girl doing the sexy hamburger bite. Yeah, I agree. But so how do we get over that and have that conversation in a way that could open the door to telling someone who's completely stressed out and sitting the desk over from you or in an office over from you and supporting you, because we're mostly business owners,
right,
listening to this, but you've got your junior person that's there that's just wigged out and they're constantly stressing. How do you have that conversation? There's got to be an easier way. And I love the idea of saying, how's home life? But I think I like the idea a little bit better about how's your self-care? What do you do for self-care? Oh, I work out at the gym, I run, well, what else?
Do you take care of yourself? And that, that's a way that can be like not so direct, but, do you take care of yourself? Are you healthy sexually?
Mm-hmm. I think those are good tips, because I know that, those of us that are listening, we're going to take care of ourselves, but those around us that affect us every day aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the message that we have to get out on there.
I would love to be able to have like bigger forums where we could really talk about this and the power of it in business. And, also I think it's important for business owners because it boosts your immune system as well. And so you're going to be happier people take less sick days. Mm-hmm. So as a business owner, your staff is going to be more productive and working harder when they're happier.
Exactly. So Tiffany, you do some amazing stuff outside of the business, and so much the personal sexual of the everyday normal person or the average person. You do some exceptional stuff too that I'm super proud of you for doing. But you go into different environments where people maybe are coming out of survivor situations, or survivor meaning cancer as well as sexual trafficking and things like that. Tell us more about what you're doing for the community, because I think it's so powerful.
Well, I have a soft spot in my heart for people who've had traumatic experiences, and that can be anything from a divorce to a body-altering surgery or returning from combat situations. And I really, really love working with cancer survivors, because men and women who have had, especially sexually related, genitals or breast cancer, it's such related to how we feel about ourselves, our masculinity and our femininity, and how, when we've had a body altering surgery, a lot of times our confidence goes out the window. And so reintroducing intimacy back into the lives of those survivors is really, really something that I love doing, and helping them reconnect, because partners, their husbands or wives, often feel like they shouldn't touch them because they're so fragile. And so I work a lot with local survivorship groups and all over the world now, with groups to make sure that they're talking about that.
That is so cool.
It saves it, if you can save that relationship, and it really helps them get back on track.
I think that that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because I don't think people realize that there's so much else that goes on psychologically and physically with, the things that go on in life, such as cancer or coming back from service or having, problems or altering or divorce. It takes a while to get that confidence back. And I think that as we've discussed earlier today, it ripples into everything that we do. And as business owners, most of our life is thinking about our business. And if we can't make good decisions because there's something else back here that's bothering us, it does affect the money along the way. And we don't really realize what we all go through. And it's so amazing that you brought that up and that you help people that maybe didn't think they had a problem, right?
Yeah. So many times people, I find, say, oh, it's fine or it's good enough, but they don't even have the ability to know how great it can be and what more is possible in life.
Just by taking care of yourself and having a wonderful relationship, physical, intimate relationship. I think that's so important. Wow. Well, thank you, Tiffany. This has been amazing. I know that this is one of those topics that people go, what? Sex, money, wait a minute, Go away. Don't say anything. Shh. But yet it's not a shush topic. It's something that we really need to do and take care of ourselves individually and as business owners. So it's amazing that you are able to have this conversation with us today, Tiff. So what else is going on in your life? What do you got going?
I have a retreat coming up in Aruba the first weekend in May for women who really want to explore more. They want to have more self-actualization in life, more self-love, and explore what is possible. And it's called Bringing Sexy Back, a deep dive into sensual self-love. And it is going to be 4 days of all-inclusive. I have a private villa rented. It's amazing, of coaching and meditation and underwater photography and sensual activities with food, and just to really open up all of your senses, to open your taste buds and your eyes and your body to all kinds of things that are possible.
See, and it's not just food can be sexy, right? Touching can be sexy. It doesn't have to all be the only one way of sex. It's not all, missionary position. There's so many more things that you can do. And I love that. I love the idea that you can enjoy sensual feelings with the taste of a juicy fruit or a touch of something soft. And it's wonderful. I have been to some of your classes and they have been eye-opening, educational, really impactful, and it's never in a dirty, sloppy, messy, embarrassing way. It's always been done with class and taste. So I know that this event in Aruba is going to be outstanding. So good luck on it. How can they reach you?
They can reach me directly at enticeme.com. Just online, go to my website. There's contact pages, or Tiffany at enticeme.com. There's a pop-up on the site right now to register for Aruba. And on social media at Entice Me Soirees on all the social media.
Love it. So do you have any tips for us? Do you have anything that someone who's listening can go back and put into their life today to maybe make more profits in their business?
Sure. I think it starts with, that self-love. So if you can take time to self-pleasure, definitely do that if you're comfortable. If not, I'd love to talk to you more about that. But it starts with just even touch, like when you're taking your shower, a lot of times we're not even feeling our bodies anymore. We touch our skin, we wash our skin, but we don't actually take time to feel what that is. So even if you're putting lotion on, just take an extra minute to feel what your hand on your skin feels like. And then one of my favorite tips is from French women. They always wear sexy lingerie, and they do it for themselves. And you actually hold yourself differently when you're wearing a beautiful bra and panties versus if it's just kind of that old one that should have been discarded a while ago. And then also just, accepting compliments and being graceful in that. Something that I really compare men to women in also is when women are complimented, we tend to say, I got it on sale. I got it on sale. Here's where guys go, oh, thank you so much. And they don't ever try to justify a compliment. And so just learning to be graceful and saying thank you and zipping it and just go, someone appreciated what I did to get ready today or something like that. And it's so powerful.
I love it. Just little itty bitty secrets that we can do. And so, guys, you can send your wife sexy lingerie, or maybe there's a nice little pair of satin or silky pants that you could put on. So it's not all just women. And also, when was the last time you said, what a great job to another coworker, men, as well as women. What a great job you did. And I appreciate everything that you did. And that's that's another great compliment. Not just, oh, you look fabulous today, but, oh, what a great job you've done. I think it goes a mile for our self-confidence and our ability, and that can help you make more money in your business. So, wow, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. I value you and think that you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
You bet. So, hey guys, thanks for listening today. I hope you found an idea or two to put into your business that will have you making more money and being more control and more profitable. I would like you to know, if you'd like to know specifically how you can increase your own profits in your business, let's chat. My contact information will be in the podcast description. I am also very, very excited to announce my book. I'm on tour right now. This is Big Profit Secrets Exposed. It's available on Amazon. The link will be in the podcast description. It is my intellectual property. There's a lot of information you can get on this, and you can take it and put it into work right away for you. Also, if you want some podcast notes, hit me up. We'll send you a quick email with those off. And as always, I'd love to hear your feedback, ideas, and questions you have. Please comment on today's podcast and let us know what you think. And so you can catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more profitable information on next week's show. Until then, make your plans and profit with it. Bye.